Hello, guys. Hello. Welcome to another live session of Sunday Reset. Okay. I am Dr. Kelly. I am a board certified psychiatrist, neuropsychiatrist, and Sunday Reset has been created for Black women like you who are joyful warrior to not only become, but also to maintain the state of mind of a joyful warrior. Okay. So Sunday Reset is a place, a safe place that's been created for you specifically, busy Black women who carry many hats, who play multiple various roles in society. And unfortunately, sometimes, unfortunately, it can leave you feeling a little overwhelmed and stressed out. Okay. So I know when I mention feeling overwhelmed, stressed out before you start the new week, that may start giving you a little racing heart, muscle tension. So guess what? It's not you. It's your brain natural stress response. Very important, guys. It's your brain that goes on the fight or flight mode to keep you safe and protected. But if it's constantly stay like that on the fight or flight mode, that can make you feel overwhelmed. That can start making you feel think fuzzy, and also it can leave you with detrimental physical and mental health effects. Okay, so Sunday Reset is a place that's created for busy Black women, joyful warrior like you, to come and collect your mind and thoughts before you start the new week, so you can take stock of how you're gonna approach the new week. Okay, so when I mention about the brain natural stress response, what's going on is that because we have changed the environment you are living. What I mean by that, we have changed the way we family lives. We used to have the extended family. People don't realize that it's only for a very short period of time, from 1945 after World War II until now. It's when we have created a nuclear family. It was never that human beings were raised children like that. It was always the extended family, the community. That's what we have now, right? So we have changed the way you live as a woman, as a Black woman. We have changed the way you work. We have changed the way you travel. So what's going on is that your brain is trying to adapt to new situation and new environment. And when that happens, hi Miss Carmen, Miss Bratton, how you doing? When that happens, your brain sees things as physical threat. And when it sees things as physical threat, it releases stress hormone, all that good stuff. I say all that good stuff, it's a way of protecting you and keeping you safe. Unfortunately, sometimes you may feel stressed out or overwhelmed. Don't blame yourself. Unfortunately, sometimes women like you have been conditioned to associate your self-worth with how much you produce. Your self-worth with what you can do for others. So this is what we need to change. Guess what? You have the ability to rewire your brain to change the way you see things. Because if your brain is seeing things as physical threat, it releases cortisol, stress hormone. And the stress hormone, if it stays chronically elevated, that's what leads to mental and physical illnesses. It's not because they're genetic. Diabetes, obesity, hypertension, heart disease, fibroid, even breast cancer, colorectal cancer, you know what they all have in common? And they all have in common, they all have inflammatory process. They all come from chronic inflammation. Now, it's not that you did that. When your cortisol, your stress hormone stays elevated, and you don't even know that because we have changed the environment, and yet you are living life. You are trying to make things happen for yourself and your family, but you don't know that your cortisol stays elevated. Then if it stays elevated, what you need to do is make sure 2 or 3 times a day you transition your brain from the fight or flight mode to rest and digest. Guys, this is really basic brain science. Guess what? I was just talking to a bunch of 20 doctors. 20 doctors who they are the who is who in the Black community. Those are people like if there's something that happens, that's who the president calls. And I realized when I told him that, I said, look, guys, if you want to change, because we're not talking about suicides, the suicide rate has increased among especially youth in the Black community. And what we need to know is because the environment has changed and the brain is seeing things as stressful. So what we need to do, just like for you, if you feel stressed, if you feel a little overwhelmed during the week, make sure you incorporate mindful self-care in the form of deep breathing, mindful walking, even mindful cooking, mindful, as long as you take time to smell the flowers. And you can combine that with smell. For 10 to 15, 20 minutes twice a day, that's enough for you to thrive. So that's what I want to remind you. Don't blame yourself, but the way to thrive as a mother, as someone, especially black women who carry multiple hats, the way to maintain the state of mind or staying a joyful warrior, it's really to incorporate mindful self-care, combine it with self-compassion, and also learn how to put boundaries. You know how you do that? Write down some of your core values. When I say that, I know it's new. I'm still learning how to articulate those things. I tell people, if you're trying to raise children, if you haven't gone to break the bank, you believe in something. Just write down the thing that you're trying to live up. You're trying to raise your children with, your child, your children. Write down the values that your family has given to you that you have kept. And write down the values that you want to leave as a legacy. Make them 10 to 15. You don't have to make it a big deal. Just write down honesty, integrity. If you believe in them, just write them down. Because if you write them down, write down your goals and objectives of the week, what you're trying to achieve. And then underneath it, write down the rewards and benefits that you will get. You don't have to do everything. Then also empower yourself to believe that you don't have to do everything. Empower yourself to keep boundaries. Because I know it's hard because no one wants to get mad. No one wants to blame. No one wants people to get mad at them. But guess what? You don't want also to die of a heart attack. You don't want to die of chronic illnesses because it doesn't serve you, it doesn't serve us. So, Sunday Reset is a place for black women, joyful warrior like you, to remind yourself that you deserve not only to survive but to thrive. You deserve to live your best life while you're taking care of other people. What you need to do, make sure that during the week, if you happen to feel a little stressed and overwhelmed, step out of where you are. Take some 15 to 20 minutes and practice some mindful self-care just for 15 to 20 minutes. And combine that with some self-compassion, positive affirmation, and while you're looking at your core values and the goals you set for yourself or what you're trying to do. Because if you write it down, then the brain, it takes into the conscious mind. If you don't write it down, the brain, it's already not easy to do. The brain doesn't want to work. It's not your fault. Okay? Yes, Ms. Bratton, we should change our diet. But you know one thing? So I'm being very careful about, because people have been blamed for so many things. I am learning that too. Yes, we should change our diet. But what I want to remind people, when I feel stressed out and your cortisol level, your stress hormones increase, the brain, the way it tries to protect itself is by the way I said it, if you have Caesar salad and fried chicken and you're stressed out, you almost have no choice in what your brain is going to get. So it's very important not to blame yourself, right? It's really to realize, okay, if I can do deep breathing, if I can incorporate mindfulness, it decreases my stress hormone level, and that will in turn help me to eat the food that are good for me. So I'm learning to have compassion for people, because if it were that easy, we all would have done it. Especially women, black women who have so many things to carry. You're doing so many things that are not for you. Society has changed, but yet they expect you to do more with less. So the goal to have is to realize your brain is screaming. It's not you, okay? It's your brain trying to adapt. So yes, Ms. Bratton, so I agree with you. We have to talk about diet, but we have to talk about it in a way from within, from inside out. Outside in doesn't work, but that's how it doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? So it's really to combine mindful self-care with self-compassion. Then once you're stressed hormone, then you write down some core values. Then you write down your goals. You don't have to be perfect. Then you can start rewiring your brain, forming new habits and behaviors. I know It's not easy, and it's a science. That science they call it the neuroplasticity, the ability that the brain has to rewire itself. So that's why I'm committed to help you, especially Black women, because it's not because you need it the most, but because you carry the heaviest load. I know some people say that, well, I'm talking to Black women only. I'm not. I'm talking to all women. I hope this woman becomes president because if women are doing better than the rest of us, I'll be better. But Black women carry Black women carry the heaviest load in society because you guys are doing more with less. And so if we can help the person who's carrying the heaviest load, then all of us will be better. Okay? So Ms. Bratton, I have some stuff to give you, so we'll talk. But I agree with you. But I don't want to talk about anything that will add one more shame and guilt to already everything in society seemingly has been blamed on women, on Black women. I am learning myself. If I can start having compassion for myself, then that's the way, better yet, to have compassion for people who are making the world possible for me, and to understand that they're trying their best. If it were that easy, you know, that no one wants to get sick. No one wants to have diabetes. No one wants to have high blood pressure. No one wants to have chronic illnesses. Here's what the good news: we know that they all come from chronic inflammation, even lupus, sarcoidosis, all of them. They come from what we know now. They can 95% not only be reduced, be prevented. I was talking to these Black doctors. I say that it's like I feel like running. They didn't get what I was saying because it's kind of, I think it's kind of revolutionary. But yet that's where we are. That's where we are. We have to thrive. Black women have to thrive. We have changed the environment, and we have to bring about the new brain tools, which is mindful self-care with anti-inflammatory food, anti-inflammatory diet, herbs and spices, the 8 to 9 supplement, and write down some of your core values and write down your objectives and goals. You don't have to do everything. Just empower yourself that you don't leave yourself last. Because if you leave yourself last, that will happen what has happened to my mother, Black women who died unfortunately prematurely, right? We don't want that to happen. Okay? So thank you for joining. Again, remind yourself during the week is to incorporate mindful self-care with self-compassion and write down some of your core values, write down what you're trying to achieve, write it down and put it on the wall. Okay? So Ms. Bratton, I'll get with you sometime this week, okay? We need to talk. Okay? So guys, so I'll see you. Until then, be kind to yourself. The goal is again for Black women to become and maintain the state of mind of being a joyful warrior. Okay? So I'll see you. Bye. Take care.